I really wanted to have a perspective that I don't get very often, which is from my friend John. How do we say it? Everyone being included in this conversation, everyone's story being told.
Your thoughts and feelings do have value, and you are perfect in your own special way.
Yeah, John.
That was very nice.
Hi. Do you mind if I sit here?
Okay.
What's your name?
Annie.
And I'm Austin. I like your shirt.
Thank you.
We have John and Dion with us today just to show you the director behind Love Transparent.
Well, one thing that drew me to this project was one, working with the very talented John Anderson and Allie Robertson. Thank you guys for inviting me on. I really wanted to have a perspective that I don't get very often, which is from my friend John. You know, such a creative guy and extremely talented, and it's like, I got this idea. This is what I want to write about. This is what I want to do. And I'm like, that is perfect. And so thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you're able to be a part in this thing that I have created in the back of my mind.
Well, I really enjoy it, and I'm glad that we're bringing it out of the back of your mind and into this, what will we call it? This movie world? This crazy fictional world that we're creating?
Yeah, at this point it feels like I was creating my own show, just like the ones that I see on TV every single day.
That's exactly what you are doing. Just like the ones you see on TV every single day, but it's being created by you. John and I, we also talk about, how do we say it? Everyone being included in this conversation, everyone's story being told. John, you speak very clearly and poignantly about this. We talk about diversity and all that, those things, but how often do you see your point of view on display in film and television?
Well, there's not much representation as there probably could be with big deal TV and film projects go, but I do feel like it's within an area that I love, and I want to try to learn more about it as much as I can. Even though I have a disability, that disability doesn't define me.
Period. And the biggest fact is it's an underrepresented large number of people that live in our society every day. Little to no representation.
Yeah.
That's a bunch of hooey, if you ask me.
I couldn't agree more.
So, and as we bring more of Austin out to the rest of the world, what's some of the things, or what is one thing that you would like to show them about a person like Austin?
I'd like to show people that even though that a person can think differently than a normal person would, they're still a person, and start to picture them as regular people. Like, even though we might not do things that are normal to extent that most people do, that I would like to be represented as someone who can be normal.
Well, honestly, I think you're changing the the framework or the perspective of what normal is.
Yeah.
To see characters like Austin and Annie on the screen. Don't you think it's normal?
Yeah,
Because I think it's normal.
It should be normal.
And in fact, I think it's a beautiful story, and people are going to just be extremely impressed with this story, John.
I truly think so too. It's pretty much a heartfelt story about this particular underdog who is going through a hard time, and about him getting a win for at least one point in his particular life.
You're
And
right. He is the underdog, and he's going to get a lot of wins. I think he's going to have a lot of wins before this show's over. I think that you are bringing us something that many of us want to see. You're giving representation to all of us, and it's about time that we get to see ourselves on the big screen.
Yeah, it can definitely be nice to tell our stories and be uniquely us. I mean, if they can do it for people who are deaf, then why not do it for people who are going through like autism, Asperger's, or going through anxiety troubles and all that, and tell their stories. I definitely feel like if you pay attention to their stories long enough, that you can truly feel exactly what they're going through and have a relationship with these particular characters and be able to have an understanding for them, which will lead to characters that people will like.
So, are you willing to be one of these voices that brings attention to those of us that we're not always represented out front and in your face like others? Are you going to bring us Austin and give him that character that is out there and in your face and unapologetically Austin?
I mean, I'll give it my best shot.
Well, I guess I can't ask for anything more than that. All right.
Nice. Beautiful.
Thank you, John Anderson.
Let's switch places. Maybe it'll be funny. Like, all right, it's my turn.
It's your turn.
Hello.
Can we start? May we get your names, please?
My name is Allison Robertson. You can call me Allie.
Hi, Allie.
And my name is John Anderson.
Hello,
But most
John.
people call me John.
Allison, please tell us the name of this amazing project that you guys worked on.
Well, it's a name John came up with. It's called Love Transparent.
What was your role on this project?
After John gave me the idea, I wrote the screenplay for the short, and then I shot the film with my camera and then edited it.
Tell me a little bit about your role as cinematographer on this project.
I had this location in mind for a long time to shoot at, which has this really cool field where the sunset is very beautiful. So I'd always wanted to shoot there. And after John's idea, I saw this person sitting on this bench at this field at sunset, and then drew out the storyboard as these two people meet and go along, and saw the sunbeams blazing past their heads and have them glowing in the sunset light.
It really is beautiful at
Thank
sunset. Well, you got the sunbeam through her hair. It's just lovely. One thing that I noticed, and I mentioned this to you several times, was this level of sweetness, romance, touching this love story that you brought out, and I honestly feel it has something to do with your gender. Someone may slap me on the wrist for that, but I feel it was something that you brought not only out of Annie and Austin, the two characters, but something that you brought to the table in your viewpoint, because I think that's missing in filmmaking. And I think it's missing because we don't have enough female filmmakers represented.
That is interesting. Perhaps being just me, or maybe being female, or adding a feminine touch, it was very important to me to have a flowing waltz-like effect, kind of like twirling in a dress, so which is particularly feminine. And then the editing, I especially like to eke out every nuance of seeing the characters' faces and hearing what the actors are saying and capturing every moment through the edit as well. So perhaps that attention to the emotional details is feminine or female.
Well, I found it lovely.
Thank you.
And I'm like, I'm so glad she was right about that sunset. That was gorgeous.
Love the sunset, love that field.
What about the representation of female filmmakers? You're one of a handful of female cinematographers and creators, and actually production company owner that I know. So let's hit on that.
Well, I relate to John a little bit, having disability or some sort of limitation, but also being female has been very interesting to go along doing what I love to do, not knowing any different, and realizing that I am somewhat a minority in this career path, and I would love for it to be normal as well, that seeing a female filmmaker is no big deal, and female filmmakers being paid and respected and hired just the same as anyone else, while also respecting male filmmakers who want to keep doing it, as well as other people who represent a particular diversity.
Excellent. John, how did you come up with this idea for Love Transparent?
Well, for the most part, it was kind of based partially on my own life, mostly kind of along the lines of there's this certain time when you feel like you want to talk to somebody about something, but you just can't, and this is the particular story about this guy that copes with that even when he feels like he has no one to turn to when he needs someone the most. As far as the character of Annie goes, she's the kind of person who is very outgoing and very interested in whoever she talks to. Pretty much the particular girl who says hi to everyone on the street, even if she just met them. But she kind of helps this particular guy, Austin, try to get himself out of this particular shadow that he's in, and pretty much helps him to feel like he is not alone in this world.
That's very good.
What are some things that you would like to bring out of this story that perhaps we don't see in a lot of other stories?
I want to portray myself as this person, like, I am dealing with a disorder that makes it harder for you to act like a normal person at times, and you, even though you're living in a world where everyone else is pretty much normal, even when you don't know they're going through their own problems as well, but that this disorder doesn't define me. I can do whatever I set my mind to, and I know that if I keep having a positive attitude on life and keep working as hard as I can, everything will eventually fall right into place.
And what is Austin dealing with?
I guess he has this somewhat semi-active imagination, and what I mean by that is kind of he's in his own world at times whenever he feels like like the world is giving him a hard time and he just wants to be alone for a while and think his own thoughts. When it comes to the time when he wants to talk about some things that he's thinking about with others, it's always really hard to do. So most of the time he kind of is in his own place to help him figure out what's going on around him and try to make him feel a little bit better about himself in a way.
Like with the conversations that you have, that Austin has with Annie, where he is just so clear and he continues just to talk and it's an easy conversation, there are no limits.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Annie's that reassuring voice of wanting to talk to Austin and having the patience to listen to him and wanting to hear his ideas that he normally doesn't think other people would want to stick around for.
How did you feel about the dancing that Austin had to do?
Yeah, and it's actually funny that you mentioned that because the dancing in that particular scene wasn't even my idea to begin with. She brought the idea up to me, and I figured, why not? The thing was, though, there was no choreography involved in this. It was kind of close to like ballroom dancing, I guess, so this was kind of my own take on that, and pretty much I did the best I could, even with a few missteps here and there. But I just told myself I'm going to have fun with this regardless. It really was a great idea for this particular instance, and I never really thought of it much from it before, but it's kind of like the icing on the cake. It's kind of like the best part or something like that.
It's so sweet.
I think everyone is gonna enjoy that part a lot, as much as I did.
I like that it wasn't choreographed so they could just flow with each other and learn from each other.
Yeah, it was a natural progression as the dance went along. John, are you finding as some of these walls are coming down for Austin, that they're coming down for yourself?
Yeah, I guess, and that's the particular thing that these kind of characters that come about kind of help with those particular people, kind of like how Annie is pretty much trying to get Austin out of his comfort zone and just try to enjoy life a little bit more.
One more question for you, Allie. As you see this project opening up and becoming bigger than what you thought it was, and as it's taken on this life of its own, what would you like to bring to this to give us more of that sweetness? This authentic sweetness, because it was not forced.
Highlighting the sweet spots will come from shining a light in those dark places and see Austin's own struggles with being lonely or lost, a little inside himself to himself. And then Annie as this bright light of hope for Austin that you'll see that contrast between the dark and the light so you can really enjoy the sweet spots.
Well, I'm personally looking forward to bringing out all of that joy that lies in this kid, I call him a kid, but in this young man's head from these amazing adventures that we're going to pull out. And figuring out with John which of these adventures are reality and which of them are in his head?
Oh yeah, we have to figure out what's real and not real.
Yeah, John, because it gives us the ability to cheat in a way. She can be real and she can be fake all at the same time. All a figment of your imagination, and all of it is great. Tell your friends what your favorite moment has been of being Austin.
Pretty much trying to figure out how his mind works and how it operates. It's kind of like this roller coaster joyride that by the end of it, and you get your picture at the end, you're just like, I'm going to treasure this experience forever.
John, you did an excellent job coming up with this concept.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And the response that you're getting from it is really incredible. If there's one thing that you want everyone to look out for in the near future, tell us what it is.
I know there's a lot of things going around lately as far as representation goes and all that, but if I had the opportunity to represent myself in something that I truly love, then I'd like to be that person in whatever I put myself into, to pretty much tell all these people you're not alone to think about those certain things, because your thoughts and feelings do have value, and you are perfect in your own special way.
That was very nice.
I love you, and I love you, Allison Robertson.
I love you, Dion Green.
Thank you guys so much for talking with me today. And we'll come back and we'll discuss it further as this project continues to go along. Would you guys come back and join me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right on. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye y'all.